Good morning. Young and the Restless early weekly spoilers for March 9th through the 13th suggest Victor Newman, Eric Braden, is being despicable, and Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, tempted. Let's dive into what's coming up in Genoa City. On Wednesday, March 4th, Daniel Romalotti, Michael Graziade, asks Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, how he's going to turn things around for Phyllis. Kane says Phyllis has a hollow victory because she's lost her kids. Kane thinks Phyllis would stop this if Daniel Summer Newman, Allison Lanier, and Lucy Romalotti, Lily Brooks O'Brien were back in her life. Daniel asks for a guarantee on that. Kane says Phyllis is heartbroken and needs their forgiveness. Daniel realizes Kane's doing this because Victor kidnapped Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, and kids. Kane admits it and says Phyllis needs more in her life than Newman. Daniel says Kane's wasting his time because his mom doesn't care about them. Daniel says forgiving Phyllis will just allow her to avoid feeling bad about what she's done because she's power hungry. Kane claims to get Phyllis's pain because of his own kids. Kane asks Daniel to at least talk to Phyllis. Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow has been MIA, and Victor, Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, and Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley talk about it. But then Nick shows up claiming his phone was off while he went to LA to get info on where Matt Clark's Roger Howarth hiding, but says he didn't find anything. Matt's gone off the grid since Victor took everything. Victoria and Nikki are happy Nick didn't find Matt because they're worried Nick would kill him and wind up arrested. Victor says Matt's got the upper hand as long as they can't find him. Nick asks for an update on Newman, and Victor says Phyllis still has the company. Victoria says Phyllis is firing people very loyal to Newman family. Nick says Kane didn't deliver, so what's the plan? Victor says he has a better plan, and Nikki insists he tell them. Victor won't tell them, but says he should have done this from the start, and it's nothing to do with Lily. Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope, is at Billy Abbott's, Jason Thompson, after they slept together and asks if she's having second thoughts. Sally says she's all in as long as Billy's not lying. He promises he won't. Sally says she's okay with it, and Billy says even if he loses Chancellor, he'd be there for her. He tells Sally he won't let her go. They toast to being a power couple. She tells Billy he hurt her when he left Abbott Comm. Billy's sorry, and he felt like Sally hated him after he made deal with Kane. Sally says she felt abandoned. Billy owns his mistake. Phyllis shows up to interrupt their makeout session. She tells Billy there's a contract issue with Chancellor Transfer, but Phyllis says Sally's company is fine. Billy asks what's up, and if Phyllis is going to do him dirty like she did Kane, in fact, like how Kane did Billy. Phyllis says things are fine. It's just complicated since it's a multinational company. She says Billy's lawyers will thank her for fine-tuning contract and leaves. He tells Sally something's off with Phyllis. Billy calls and leaves Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, a message to call him. Victor texts Billy come to ranch ASAP. Sally thinks Billy should ignore it. He can't because something's up with Phyllis, and Victor might know what it is. Billy says he's going to go see if he can get some information. Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, tells Tessa Porter, Kate Fairbanks, she's got her hands full between Mariah Copeland, Cameron Grimes, and Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, and Sharon wants to see Aria Porter Copeland, Millie Ingle, and wanted to bring Mariah along, but she said she's not ready. Tessa says this isn't a good idea for Aria. Daniel shows up, and Tessa goes outside with him. Daniel tells her about his chat with Kane and asks Tessa's advice. She says if it was her, she'd give Phyllis another chance. Daniel wonders if Tessa would do the same if Mariah asks for another chance. Daniel wants to know if he could lose Tessa. She tells Daniel she doesn't know what she'd do. Tessa says Mariah's had so many chances already. Tessa says Mariah doesn't want her to forgive her, and Tessa's done fighting for them and is moving on. Daniel thinks he broke his mom's heart. Kane tells Phyllis that Daniel's considering it, but wants time. Phyllis wonders if Tessa might sway Daniel and says Kane should hurry and see her because Billy's going to get impatient. Kane vows to make it happen. Nick catches Sharon up on his trip to find Matt, and Sharon wonders if somehow Matt left the country. Sharon thinks Matt will stay away to avoid arrest. Nick gets a text from Matt saying he's sorry he missed him in LA. Billy asks what Victor wants, and he tells Billy he's going to give back Chancellor by the end of the day. He says Victor's crazy. That won't happen. He tells Billy that they'll never see Jack again if Billy doesn't hand it over. On Thursday, March 5th, Jack's in for a rude awakening. Looks like he wakes up as a captive. Victor has Billy backed against the wall. Victor kidnapped Jack, and unlike with Lily, it's no bluff. Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, and Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters, are horrified when Billy shows up and tells Diane and Kyle what Victor did and threatened they'd never see Jack again if he doesn't give Victor back Chancellor. Kyle springs into action. I think he'll ask Claire Grace Newman, Haley Aaron, for help. She'll be furious with Victor. On Friday, March 6th, Diane goes to extremes to find Jack. I'm sure Diane is terrified and desperate to find Jack. She might lash out at Victor and tell Nikki what her awful husband has done. This Jack kidnapping incident puts Nikki and Victor's marriage to the test. Jack's world's turned upside down. Getting kidnapped was not on his bingo card. Is Patty Williams, Stacy Hyduck involved? We'll see. Phyllis tries to reconcile with Daniel. Tessa softened him up for her, and Kane was part of it. During the week of March 9th through the 13th, Lily is back this month. Do Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic, and Devin Hamilton Winters, Brighton James, find her and bring her home? Matt wants revenge on Sienna, but Nick's a huge target also, as are Sharon and Noah. Holden Novak, Nathan Owens, and Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver, may get closer. Billy and Sally are doing great, but if Billy doesn't exchange Chancellor for Jack, then Sally will be upset, especially since Billy just told Sally that he'd be happy with her and without Chancellor, and it's getting put to the test. Nikki's going to be livid with Victor because of Jack's abduction. Claire, too. Daniel might forgive Phyllis. Billy, Diane, and Kyle frantically try to track down Jack. That's your Young and the Restless early weekly spoiler outlook. The upcoming week in The Young and the Restless promises explosive confrontations, shocking betrayals, and emotional crossroads that could change the future of Genoa City forever. As power plays escalate and hidden motives surface, several beloved characters will find themselves pushed to their limits. From ruthless schemes orchestrated by the legendary Victor Newman to a dangerous temptation confronting the unpredictable Phyllis Summers, the week of March 9th to 13 is packed with tension, drama, and life-altering decisions. Let's dive into the early spoilers and explore the storm brewing in Genoa City. Few characters in daytime television command fear and respect the way Victor Newman does. For decades, Victor has built an empire, protected his family, and crushed anyone who dared challenge him. But in the upcoming episodes, Victor may cross a line that even his loyal supporters find hard to justify. Victor has been quietly gathering information about his enemies. His network of investigators has uncovered secrets that could destroy several lives. Normally, Victor uses such knowledge strategically, but this time, his motives may be more personal than ever. The tension surrounding Victor escalates when he discovers something shocking involving the Abbott family. Instead of approaching the situation with diplomacy, Victor decides to exploit the weakness for his own advantage. Sources close to the Newman camp reveal that Victor is prepared to manipulate a vulnerable situation involving Jack Abbott. Their rivalry has spanned decades, but Victor's latest move may be his most ruthless yet. Victor's plan involves spreading information that could undermine Jack's leadership and damage his reputation. For Victor, it's just another calculated move in the endless chess game of power. But what makes this situation particularly troubling is how far Victor is willing to go. Instead of focusing solely on business competition, he appears ready to target Jack's personal life. This decision may mark one of Victor's lowest moments yet. While Victor prepares to strike, Jack Abbott isn't the type of man who sits quietly while his rival launches attacks. Jack senses that Victor is up to something. Over the years, he has learned to recognize the warning signs, whispers in the business community, strange shifts in alliances, and sudden moves in the corporate world. Jack confides in his sister, Ashley Abbott, who warns him that Victor never acts without a plan. Ashley suspects that Victor may be targeting Jabot's upcoming expansion project. If Victor undermines investor confidence, the project could collapse before it even begins. But Jack isn't willing to let Victor intimidate him. Instead, he decides to fight back. Jack begins quietly gathering his own allies, including longtime friends and business partners who share his distrust of Victor Newman. The battle between Newman Enterprises and Jabot could soon erupt into full-scale war. And when these two titans collide, the fallout rarely stays contained to the boardroom. Meanwhile, another storyline takes center stage as Phyllis Summers finds herself facing a temptation that could change everything. Phyllis has always been known for her fiery personality and impulsive decisions. While she often claims she wants stability, trouble tends to follow her wherever she goes. Recently, Phyllis has been trying to rebuild her life. She wants to prove to her family, especially her daughter, Summer Newman, that she can stay out of trouble. However, the universe may have other plans. An unexpected opportunity suddenly lands in Phyllis's lap. At first glance, it seems harmless, perhaps even beneficial. But beneath the surface lies a risky scheme that could lead her back into dangerous territory. The temptation involves insider information that could give Phyllis a massive advantage in a business deal. For someone with Phyllis's history, the allure of such power is difficult to resist. She knows that using the information would be wrong, but she also knows it could help her reclaim the influence she once enjoyed in Genoa City. Phyllis struggles with the decision. Should she walk away and protect her newfound stability, or should she seize the opportunity and risk everything? As Phyllis wrestles with her conscience, someone close to her begins to notice that something isn't quite right. Nick Newman has always shared a complicated connection with Phyllis. Their relationship has endured countless ups and downs, but Nick still cares deeply about her well being. When he sees Phyllis acting secretive, his instincts immediately kick in. Nick confronts her, asking what she's hiding. Phyllis initially brushes off his concerns, insisting that everything is under control. But Nick isn't convinced. He knows Phyllis better than most people in Genoa City, and he recognizes the familiar signs of someone about to make a risky decision. Nick warns her that chasing shortcuts could destroy everything she's trying to rebuild. His words strike a nerve. Phyllis knows he might be right, yet the temptation continues to pull her closer to the edge. Another key figure who may become entangled in Victor's latest scheme is Diane Jenkins. Diane has spent the past few years attempting to rebuild trust with the Abbott family after returning from the dead, literally. While Jack has gradually accepted her presence in his life again, many people in Genoa City remain skeptical of her intentions. Victor is one of Diane's harshest critics. In fact, Victor may decide that Diane represents Jack's greatest vulnerability. If Victor exposes damaging information about Diane's past or manufactures new doubts, he could destabilize Jack emotionally and professionally. The possibility sends shockwaves through the Abbott household. Jack refuses to abandon Diane, but the pressure from Victor's attacks could push their relationship to the breaking point. Back on the Newman side of town, Summer begins to sense that her mother might be heading toward trouble. Summer has always struggled with Phyllis's unpredictable behavior. While she loves her mother deeply, she fears that Phyllis's impulsiveness could once again tear their family apart. When Summer learns about the questionable opportunity facing Phyllis, she confronts her directly. The conversation quickly turns emotional. Summer pleads with her mother to make the right choice. She reminds Phyllis how hard everyone has worked to rebuild trust after past mistakes. Phyllis listens carefully, but she still hasn't made her final decision. The internal conflict becomes increasingly intense as the week progresses. Meanwhile, Victor continues advancing his secret plan. His allies quietly move into position, collecting documents, influencing business partners, and preparing to release damaging revelations at precisely the right moment. Victor believes he is acting in the best interest of the Newman legacy. But even some of his closest confidants begin to question whether he's gone too far. If Victor follows through with his strategy, he could destroy more than just Jack Abbott's reputation. He might ignite a chain reaction that tears apart multiple families in Genoa City, and once that domino effect begins, there may be no stopping it. By the end of the week, the tension surrounding Phyllis reaches a boiling point. She finally receives confirmation that the information she's been offered is legitimate and incredibly valuable. All she has to do is use it. One decision could restore her power and influence, but it could also expose her to devastating consequences. As Phyllis stares at the opportunity before her, memories of past mistakes flood her mind. She remembers the damage she caused when she chased power without thinking about the fallout. Yet part of her still craves the thrill of the game. In a moment filled with suspense, Phyllis must choose which path to take. Will she resist the temptation, or will she once again embrace the chaos that has defined so much of her life? As the week of March 9th, 13 unfolds, the lives of several key players become increasingly intertwined. Victor's ruthless strategy threatens to ignite another chapter in the legendary Newman Abbott feud. Jack prepares for battle, determined not to let Victor destroy everything he has built. Phyllis stands at a crossroads that could either redeem her or push her back into scandal. Nick struggles to protect someone he still cares about, and Summer desperately hopes her mother will make the right choice. In true The Young and the Restless fashion, secrets, ambition, and emotional turmoil collide in ways that promise unforgettable drama. As the drama continues to unfold in The Young and the Restless, the tension surrounding Victor's schemes and Phyllis's temptation spreads throughout Genoa City. By midweek, alliances begin shifting, secrets start leaking, and several characters realize that they may be standing on the edge of a crisis that could reshape the power dynamics of the entire town. While Victor Newman believes he has everything under control, the consequences of his latest strategy begin to ripple outward in ways he may not have anticipated. Victor has never been a man who hesitates once he commits to a course of action. With his intelligence network feeding him constant updates, he becomes increasingly confident that his plan to undermine Jack Abbott will succeed. Behind closed doors at Newman Enterprises, Victor meets with several trusted advisors. During the tense meeting, he reveals only fragments of his strategy, keeping the most sensitive details to himself. The plan revolves around exposing vulnerabilities connected to Diane Jenkins. Victor believes Diane's complicated past is the perfect pressure point to use against Jack. Victor's reasoning is simple. If he destabilizes Jack emotionally, Jack will make mistakes in business. And once Jack makes mistakes, Victor can move in to seize the advantage. However, not everyone agrees with Victor's approach. Some members of the Newman Circle worry that targeting Diane so aggressively could create unnecessary enemies. Diane has slowly earned support from several powerful figures in Genoa City. If Victor pushes too far, he might provoke backlash. But Victor dismisses the concerns without hesitation. In his mind, the Newman Empire must always come first. Meanwhile, Diane begins to feel the pressure building around her. Over the years, Diane has developed a strong survival instinct. She knows how quickly public opinion can turn against her, especially considering her controversial history. Subtle changes begin to worry her. Conversations suddenly stop when she enters a room. Business associates grow distant. Old rumors start circulating again. Diane quickly realizes that someone may be working behind the scenes to damage her reputation. Although she cannot immediately prove it, she strongly suspects Victor is responsible. When she shares her concerns with Jack, he becomes furious. Jack has defended Diane countless times since her return to Genoa City, and he refuses to let Victor manipulate their lives once again. Still, Diane fears that Victor's influence might be too powerful to fight. Jack Abbott has spent decades battling Victor Newman, and he understands exactly how dangerous his rival can be. Instead of waiting for Victor's attack to unfold, Jack decides to take action. He begins strengthening his own alliances throughout Genoa City's business community. Several investors who have worked with Jabot for years assure Jack that they remain loyal. However, Jack also realizes that Victor's strategy might involve more than just business pressure. Victor thrives on psychological warfare. If Victor succeeds in turning public opinion against Diane, Jack may be forced to spend valuable time defending his personal life rather than focusing on corporate strategy. Determined not to be caught off guard, Jack consults with trusted allies, including his sister Ashley Abbott. Ashley encourages Jack to stay calm and avoid falling into Victor's trap, but she also agrees that Victor's behavior is becoming increasingly reckless. For Ashley, the biggest concern is that Victor may underestimate how fiercely the Abbott family will fight back. While the Newman Abbott rivalry heats up, Phyllis Summers continues struggling with her moral dilemma. The information she has been offered could dramatically improve her position in the business world. but using it would require crossing a line she promised her family she would never cross again. Phyllis spends hours weighing her options. Part of her wants to walk away completely, yet another part of her remembers how exhilarating it felt when she was at the top of Genoa City's power structure. For someone like Phyllis, temptation often comes disguised as opportunity, and this opportunity is becoming harder to ignore. Nick Newman grows increasingly worried as he notices changes in Phyllis's behavior. She becomes distracted during conversations and unusually guarded when discussing her work. Nick tries to approach the situation gently at first. He invites Phyllis to dinner, hoping a relaxed environment might encourage her to open up. During their conversation, Nick reminds her how much progress she has made in rebuilding her relationships. Phyllis listens quietly, clearly moved by his sincerity, but she still refuses to reveal the full truth about the temptation she's facing. Nick senses that she's hiding something major, and the uncertainty leaves him deeply uneasy. Meanwhile, Summer Newman finds herself caught in the middle of the growing tension. Summer has worked hard to build stability in her life, both personally and professionally. The thought of her mother becoming involved in another scandal terrifies her. After learning more about the questionable opportunity being offered to Phyllis, Summer decides she can't stay silent. She confronts her mother in a heartfelt conversation that quickly becomes emotional. Summer reminds Phyllis of the pain their family endured during past conflicts. She begs her mother not to repeat the same mistakes. Phyllis promises that she's thinking carefully about the situation, but Summer can see the uncertainty in her eyes, and that uncertainty frightens her. By Thursday, Victor decides the time has come to make his first public move. A carefully timed leak begins circulating among Genoa City's business circles. The information raises questions about Diane's past financial dealings. Although the details remain vague, the implication is clear. Diane cannot be trusted. The rumors spread quickly. Within hours, social circles, boardrooms, and even media outlets begin discussing the allegations. Jack immediately recognizes Victor's fingerprints all over the situation. Furious, he confronts Victor directly. The confrontation is explosive. Victor refuses to deny his involvement, instead, delivering a chilling warning. If Jack continues protecting Diane, the consequences could be severe. As Friday approaches, Phyllis realizes she can no longer delay her decision. The opportunity in front of her won't last forever. If she acts now, she could secure a powerful advantage. But if she hesitates, someone else might seize the same opportunity. Late at night, Phyllis sits alone, reflecting on everything she has fought to rebuild: her reputation, her relationships, her connection with Summer. Then she thinks about what she could gain if she takes the risk. The internal battle reaches its climax. In a dramatic moment filled with suspense, Phyllis finally makes her choice. Whether her decision leads to redemption or disaster remains to be seen. By the end of the week, Genoa City is buzzing with tension. Victor's ruthless tactics have reignited one of the longest running feuds in the city's history. Jack refuses to surrender. Diane finds herself under intense scrutiny. Phyllis stands dangerously close to repeating past mistakes. And the Newman and Abbott families once again find themselves locked in a battle that could affect everyone around them. As the dust begins to settle, one thing becomes clear: the drama is only just beginning. Because in Genoa City, every decision has consequences, and the fallout from this week's events may echo for months to come.